Hey everybody, my name is Tommy, and this is my channel, Counting on the Big Sleep, where we count down the days until our demise. And this is vlog number, can't remember, and really not that concerned about. So, it is late night, and time for, I guess, a good rant about crap as usual. Let's see here. So I've been working at the new job for a while. It's alright. I mean, parts of it I like, parts of it I don't. I think the people, I only work with like 3 other guys. And I think they all think I hate them. You know, which I really don't hate them. I just don't want to hang out with them. I don't want to hang out with them at lunchtime. I don't want to hang out with them at break time. You know, I just want to be left the fuck alone. You know? That's just the way it is. It's the way I feel. Just want to be left alone. Do my job and be left the fuck alone. Get the job done, and then we can just take the rest of the night easy. That's my plan, anyway. Their plans are, who knows? Who knows? You know? And I can't even, the old man I work with, he's fine. You know? So far he hasn't said anything because I've been breaking rules left and right. You know, if a bus driver, I work for a bus company. You know, I clean buses and I fuel them and stuff. I work all night usually. But like if he would see a window open or a seat that wasn't turned up, he would, tell me, "Oh, go get the camera, take a picture of the bus number, take a picture of the seat, and he'd fill out the paperwork and send it in." And I stopped doing it. I said, "Fuck it, man. I ain't filling out the shit. You know, fucking flip the seat over, shut the window, and do your job." You know, I can understand if a whole bus full of the seats needed to be pushed up and the bus driver didn't do it. You know, if there was a lot of work involved. But just to fucking pull one handle and, these seats go up, I'm not going to waste my time doing it. And I think he sees me not doing it. He hasn't said anything to me, but... And then the kid I was working with the other day, I had to, you have to take out the boxes that control the money and put it in new boxes, So, when they bring the bus in, I take out it's my job, but take out the box, put a new box in, wash the floors, and then, sometimes I'll do his job while he's screwing around, spraying around the engine and shit. I'm like, dude, whatever, bus, I've been in the bus company for over 10 years, and this is the most backwards bus company I've worked for. I'll be honest with you. It really has. It really has. And I've met drivers that worked for other companies that worked for the company that I'm working for, and they're like, "Man, you gotta get the fuck out of there." But I noticed the old man. Oh, I wasn't following the rules, and he didn't say anything to me. That's fine, because I'm not going to. I'm not going to be writing up a bunch of paperwork for a seat that's down or a window that's open. Fucking close the damn thing and just do your job. And the kid, oh, that's right. The kid, you got to take out the boxes and put them in, put in new boxes. And so at the end, I said, "You want to fill out the paperwork?" He's like, "No, man, you got to fill out the paperwork. You got to put them in the order that you took them out." I said, "No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm just writing them all down. It took 15 minutes for each one. You got to make it, you start at 9:45, and you got to, kind of average it out to around 4 o'clock. And then just mark down the things you've done in there. And it's 3 things we've done: disinfect, mop the floors and clean, you know, 3 little boxes, you know. And he's like, oh, you gotta put them in on order that you took on. I said, no, I don't, because I don't look at that fucking shit. It's all wet and crumply up paperwork, you know, from being in the wash bay. You think they're really gonna pay attention? All they care about is you just wash the buses and fuel them. That's what they fucking care about, you know. I tell them I don't do that, you know. I'm not going to. That's why I don't know. Maybe, hey, I maybe get fired. Maybe I'll get fired. I don't know. To be honest with you. You know, if they're going to be such sticklers about fucking stupid rules like that. I never worked for a bus company where I had to make all the stupid rules where they time you. They want you to, you know, they time you. You know, how long does it take you to do this? It takes me as long as it takes me. As long as I get it all done by the time I get home, it's none of your fucking business how long something took me. You know? Lord. And I'm looking at a new place in the country, St. Anne, it's called. I don't know. I'm supposed to go look at it Sunday. I'm kind of looking, I don't know. I'm either thinking about just moving back to Hammond, where I used to live, or maybe, you know, Chicago Heights. You know, I'm not sure. You know, it's just too many people here. I want to be on my own. You know, I want to, you know, live by myself. You know, eat when I want to eat, do whatever the fuck I want to do in my own home. You know, living with other people is fine. I don't mind renting a house with other people in it, as long as I ain't got to associate with them. You know, that doesn't bother me. But when it's family and you have to associate all the time, it's, you know, and then live by other people's rules like that. You know, if I'm renting a room in someone's house, you know, and they tell me I gotta be home at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, what? I'm a grown-ass man. I'll be home when the fuck I want to be home. You know? Lord. Let me tell you. So, I figured I'd come on out tonight, do a little ranting, get things off my chest, you know. Looks like they're carving up the world, that's for sure. You know, we're taking Venezuela. Russia wants to take Ukraine. China wants to take Taiwan. Looks like we're gearing up, man. But I believe in that old prophecy they used to say, you know, there'll be wars and rumors of wars. You know, as soon as the wars all end, that's when the world's in trouble. Real trouble. But I've been going to church for almost a year now. And, oops, sorry about the camera. And, you know, I hate to say it, man, I just don't, I'm not a big believer. I really tried. I tried. Oops, let me see if I can fix this. Am I crooked? A little bit. Doesn't matter. I've tried. But you know, a lot of the story, they got different preachers coming in all the time. You know? And last week they made a big deal about me being from Kankakee and out here trying to help take care of my sister, which isn't working very well at all. Let me tell you, I'm more in the way, you know, than I am helping. You know, it's hard for me to live under other people's rules. I can't, you know. It's hard for me to, you know, to live under other people's rules and stuff like that. And I've tried to help and tried to talk to her and, you know, keep her company. And, you know, she had to go to the hospital today. She broke a blood vessel in her eyeball. Trying to use the bathroom, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. You know, all I know is that you know, they woke me up and said, "Hey, can you help us get her in the van, in the car?" I said, "Sure." Well, that's what the doctor said. First, they thought maybe it might have been a stroke, but they said it was just some kind of strain, I guess, or something. And her eye busted open. But I've been going to church for close to a year now, and it brought me back into this giant circle, which I really didn't want to be in. You know, if I would have just kept one of the jobs that I had, I could have kept my apartment, and maybe fought my way to move back up. But being out in the country here, it's not really the greatest. I don't like it. I don't like being in the country. Maybe when I'm old and really retired. I don't know. And I don't have to go anywhere. Maybe I like it. You know, who knows? But it's nice and dark out here. If you guys want to see, show you the night skies, or try to anyway. Well, it's not much of a night sky, is it? It's just dark. That's all it is. That's all I see, you know. There's some lights on way in the back there. You know, Lord knows what it is. It could be someone's house or something, I guess. Something flashing way out there. I have no idea. No clue. But, back a little bit. You don't want to see my ugly mug too much. But, yeah, it looks like they're carving up the world. Gearing everything up for, you know, who gets what. All the superpowers. But Russia's not a superpower. Russia's the original superpower. NATO could wipe them out. What the fuck happened? Oh, let's see. There we go. There we go. We got some light again. We were pitched in the darkness. You know, but yeah, it looks like they're carving up the world. You know, there's not much you can do about it. See how it all plays out in the end, I guess. Or until the end of your life. You'll see. Oh, fucking tired today. Tired, but I don't feel like sitting inside the house, you know? I don't. You know, I just want my own place so I can come and go as I please. You know? That's all. But you got to be careful what you pray for. You know, because, you know, like I said, I was going to church for a whole year. You know, trying to be more, you know, better. But, you know, I don't know. But when I talked to this one guy, you know, he told me, you know, I told him about my sister and stuff, and they wanted to do a big prayer, and I was like, no, I don't want to do all that, because I don't know what a prayer would mean. Be honest with you. What do you know, someone who has Alzheimer's and dementia and diabetes, what are you praying for? Are you praying for them, you know, to get better? She's not going to get better. It's just not going to happen. 75 years old, you're not going to get better. Do you wish for a quick demise? Or, I mean, you pray for a quick demise? Oh, I don't want to pray for that either. You know? So what do you pray for? I mean, you know, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. You know? Because God works in mysterious ways. Right? You know, you got to be careful what you pray for. You really have to understand. You know? I mean, that's how I wound up with this job in the first place. You know, I was praying for it. You know, like, you know, God, if you give me this job, you know, I'll go to church twice a week. You know, and I got the job. But then I was living so far away from it, you know, it took me a good, you know, 45 minutes to an hour to get here, which I didn't want to drive every day. You know, wear and tear on the car. So I spent most of the summer working here and there, just making enough to barely get by. You know, but at least I had my, you know, I had my freedom. You know, I could make my YouTube videos, my gaming channel, and everything. I could, you know, express my creativity. But living here and working nights, I can't express the things I want to do. You know, I can't play video games here. I'm not in the mood to do it. You know, I feel, you know, stifled. You know, I'm used to being alone, and I prefer to be alone. I prefer to, you know, come and go as I please, do what I want. Is that wrong? You know, is that wrong? 58-year-old man. Whether I decide to live in my car or not, it's my fucking business. You know? But yeah, that's the top. You know, and I can understand them saying, hey, you know, let us know if you're going to be out all night. You know, because the dogs will be barking. Don't, you know, no one wants to get woken up. You know, I don't want to get woken up either, you know. And it's not my house, you know. My plans were originally going in a different direction. You know, I got called to come out here and help, and I haven't really been that much help. I'm not. You know, I've offered to take Monday. You know, I'm off on Sundays and Mondays. Often, if the lady, you know, his wife wanted to go back to work on Mondays, like she said, I'd watch, you know, my sister. But she doesn't take me up on the offer. All right. You know, I'm not, you know, whatever. You know, how long do you expect me to stay here? You know? Think I want to live with a bunch of people all my life? No. You know? I like being alone. I like living by myself. You know? Maybe you know, I don't know. Maybe you know, going to church, a big circle swinging back, you know, to a place you know, I really didn't want to be. And the job is okay. I mean, I bust my ass, you know. I do. Except for on Friday and Saturdays when I'm just a fueler and I drive the buses and someone else does. But I got that young kid telling me, you know, I gotta do this, gotta do that. I ain't gotta do shit. No one, you know, they didn't tell me anything about, you know, the job. They said washing buses. That was it. Okay, I'll wash buses. You know, next thing I know, I'm a fueler. I'm doing the fueling on the weekends. And they want me to check oil, check this, check that. I'm not a fucking mechanic. You know? I mean, you keep on adding shit to it, and then, you know, don't even offer any extra money for it. No. That's why I don't do half the shit they tell me to do. Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not writing up reports and stuff. I'm not taking pictures if, you know, one window is a little bit open or if a seat is down. Doesn't do any good anyway. Fucking the drivers are all union. What is it gonna do? Just fucking, you know, all it does is slow me down. You know, I want to get the job done as fast as possible. You know. But that's my rant about work. I won't rant anymore about it. You know. The world is a messed up place, that's for sure. Like I said, we're carving this place up. You know, we're taking Venezuela, maybe even Cuba next. you know. Russia wants Ukraine. It may get part of it. I don't know. It may get part of it. Even though I think they're losing, I don't think they're winning. I don't see Russia winning. And I think if Russia went up against Poland, Poland would fucking pulverize them. You know, I don't think, only thing Russia has going for it is the nukes. And a lot of these NATO countries have nukes too. Yeah, nobody wants to see a nuclear war. I understand that. But this might be a war that might be coming. You know, it might be a necessity war. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this. You know. But I tell you what. You know, take down Russia, split that country up into a couple of places. America will run the world, that's for sure. China will back off pretty fucking quickly. So, well, if you made it this far in the video, congratulations. This is my late night rant. My channel is counting on the big sleep. I'm sure I got tons of more to say. I'm sure I could do a lot more. Say a lot more. You know? But it's right now, I'm not sure about what I'm going to do. Like I said, I got a place to look at St. Anne, maybe. It's a nice little town, I guess. A little bit farther from my job, but not too bad, about 20 minutes away. If I keep this job. If I keep it. I'm not going to quit, that's for sure. But I'm not going to tell you that I won't get fired. Because I'm not going to take the shit from them. I'm not going to take it. I'm just not going to do it. But who knows how life's going to end up or wind up. I can't tell you how the situation's going to wind up. It might blow up in my face again. That's what I meant about the whole church thing. Made me feel like it went right back into a circle to do something I really didn't want to do in the first place. Oh, look at that. Is that a falling star? No, that's not a falling star. No, it's just light coming off of a truck driver. Reflecting on something. I don't know. Something out here that's reflecting on. Oh. But that's my little rant for tonight. Hope you guys have a better day tomorrow. 2026, let's go. Hopefully things will improve. I mean, have they improved? Yeah, sorta. I guess they're different. My life is different again. Not sure if I want it to be this different. I do long for going towards home where I've been at for the last 30 years. But I gotta find something. Like I said, I have an appointment for an apartment in St. Anne, which is not too far from the job I have. Or I also seen a place in Chicago Heights or Hammond. Either if Chicago Heights or Hammond are both going to be a drive. I mean a big drive. We're talking 40 miles one way and 40 miles back. In this old 2007? Yeah, I think 2007 Dodge Caravan. But we'll see. We'll see how things play out in the next couple days again. I'm probably going to go to church. I don't know if I'm going to go to church this weekend. Because like I said, if I go to that open house in St. Anne, I want to take a look at it. It's supposed to be above a bar. You know. But yeah, the main problem with living here is freedom. You know, I need to be able to do what the fuck I want to do when I want to do it. You know, I want to be able to stay out as late as I want. I don't want, any kind of curfew. I don't want dogs barking at me when I come in. You know. But you tell me, you guys, how's your life going? So, like I said, if you made it this far in the video, congratulations. Really, congratulations, you made it this far. All right, everybody. I will talk to you again soon. Tommy K. Yeah. Counting on the Big Sleep is my channel. And like, comment, share. You tell me how 26 is treating you so far.